Hello and welcome to Bloke on the Range, and today we're going to be looking at the CZ600 Trail, which is CZ's new sort of high-speed, low-drag, tactical, conventional bolt-action rifle offering. And if we go back to the early days of the channel, you'll know that I'm very much into high-speed, low-drag bolt-action shooting, whether with old military rifles or with things such as Franken rifle. And Franken rifle is a modified Australian International Arms M10, which is a newly made No. 4 type action, based on, basically, which takes AK mags. There's other versions of them that they're in 308 and take M14 mags, and they unfortunately went bust, but around 2006 I got that one modified for me, which was great, and I took that out to Lynx Brutality 2023 and shot well with it until the butt got loose. And then I had the option of shooting Giga's one. So my introduction to this, the first shots I ever fired with one of these was Giga's, set up for Giga at Lynx Brutality on day 2. So, and I fell in love. It is not perfect. We'll get into the bits I don't like about it, what I would have done differently on it, but just there's a bit of a backstory. They're often, well, for a long time, there hasn't really been good bolt-action rifles, conventional bolt-action rifles, which take large magazines, so 20, 30 round magazines, which are the sort of thing that for the sort of practical shooting I do are ideal. I mean, there's been straight pull ARs on the UK market for a very, very long time now, and they absolutely dominate civilian service rifle shooting with absolutely good reason. We've got the Tikka T3X Arctic, which is unfortunately only 10 round magazine, and is a bit on the large and heavy side for that, but that was sort of coming close. And there are also other offerings these days from American manufacturers that take AR-15 compatible magazines in 223 or AR-10 compatible magazines in 308. They tend to be a more conventional layout like this, with an exposed barrel on the top, conventional stock. Now, as I said, when I first shot this, I was extremely excited by it. There was the CZ rep Carol there, and we discussed what I would do differently. And I think the easiest thing is if I take it over to the table to show you its features, and I'll explain the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the too long didn't read thing is, I love it, but it's not perfect, and I'm going to shoot it a lot. Okay, so here it is out on the table with the butt collapsed, and what you get when you buy the rifle is obviously the rifle. You don't get the optics. You get a 10 round CZ mag, which is a Bren 2 mag. These come in 3 calibers at the moment. So you've got 223 Remington, you've got 300 Blackout, and 7.62x39. And the 7.62x39s take a 7.62x39 Bren 2 mag. They will work with PMags. However, some people report that there's a bit of tolerance stacking, and sometimes the bolt will shave a bit. Giga had to shave his mags. I went and bought CZ big mags. USGI mags won't engage for some reason, but it's not the end of the world. You also amazingly get tools. That's not usual. So we've got the bolt stripping tool, we've got a tool for the action screws, and we've got another tool for that one's for adjusting the trigger, because it has an adjustable trigger. Now, the original idea was that it was going to be a user changeable barrel system. It's an aluminium receiver with a barrel extension, and the idea was that you were going to be able to, as the user, use this tool to just drop it out and then put in a caliber of your choice. And then there's another adaptation to the bolt head for that as well, but they've Loctited them in, and you invalidate your warranty if you take these out, because there was a minor incident, which was human error, I believe. It's nothing fundamental in the system, but they just, out of a surfeit of caution, they decided they were not going to be playing around with that anymore. So back over here, we have a release button there, and a telescoping butt, which has 3 positions, but like an MP5, it's only the extreme positions that it will actually lock in, which is slightly annoying because that's the one I'm using. I would like it to be about there, and I would like it to lock in each of these positions, but we can't have everything. And there might be a way to weld these up. What makes this feature a little annoying if you're in a practical match setting is that you've got the sling attachment, and that's a standard QD attachment there. That's on the back of the butt, so if you've got the rifle hanging muzzle down, it has a tendency to pull out to that position. But if you want to use it in this position, you could block it with paracord, or you could move the stop screws up there. There's options. That is not the end of the world. So barrel wise, it's a medium profile barrel. This rifle, empty without any sights on it, weighs 2.8 kilos, which is, I believe, 7.2-ish pounds. So it's not quite what would Stoner do level light, and part of that's this slightly chunky barrel. It has a threaded muzzle with a thread protector, and annoyingly that is M15-1, which is the G36 thread in 223. Again, not the end of the world. Would have been nice to have been 1/2 inch by 28. So the handguard has been attached actually kind of similarly to Franken rifle. In Franken rifle, it's grub screws going in, 3 pairs of grub screws. Here, it's clamped around the barrel, so barrel's free floating from where it's clamped, so about there. I think that's legit free float. And then the handguard, it's a wraparound handguard, not a hunting type, so you can get your thumb on it with a sort of modern hold. No worries about having your thumb on the barrel or anything. It is M-locked up the wazoo, as you might expect, as is common for our times. And then the action is in a polymer chassis, which again, it has some M-lock there. It's a bit of a step. It's not as annoying as you might think. It's actually fine unless you want to have your hand on the junction all the time. And then the other controls are ambidextrous. We've got a safety AR style. We've got mag release on both sides. Again, modern AR style. And because it is a bolt action, one should in principle be always using one's right hand to do all the manipulations, because you've got your pistol grip hand has to come off the pistol grip all the time to work the bolt anyway, so it might as well do everything. Otherwise you're constantly swapping hands, and it's wasted movement, wasted time. Your left hand stays up here controlling the rifle. So the trigger is adjustable. There's 4 preset weights. You can change it with the little Allen key, and unfortunately the highest setting doesn't meet the 4.5 pounds required by civilian service rifle for service optic, so it's out of that, unfortunately. The highest setting is about 3.5 pounds, and I've got it on one of the lower ones right now. And the safety can only be applied with the bolt cocked like a conventional AR-15. So as I said before, the receiver is made out of aluminium. The 600 series has all manner of conventional layout bolt actions in it, which have steel receivers, and I'd suggest you just take a look at the CZ website if you're interested in seeing how that fits together. But in brief, there's 3 different action lengths for the standard ones, mini, short and long depending on the caliber. This is a dedicated receiver specifically for the trail, and it's the mini length. So the bolt travel is 60 degrees, which is fantastic. However, they've positioned the bolt handle forward, despite the shape of this cocking handle being quite elaborate in order to clear the rods of the adjustable butt. They didn't make the effort to bend it backwards into a more optimal position, and this is the same across the whole range. And we're going to have a play with this. Me and Chappie are going to bend some metal. I've got some various different cocking handles here, and we're gonna have a play. That's a future time, but I want to show the rifle as it is standard. So the bolt release is here, and that pushes down a pin in there that runs in that slot there, And yes, this is greased up nicely because I was shooting it yesterday. So here we have the bolt, which is 3-lug and is clearly based on a Sauer 202. So traces its lineage back to, I believe, the Sportco/Omark 44, which I think were the first ones to have the outer diameter of the lugs the same as the bolt body. And this has some very interesting adaptations in it. So first up, so if you look here, you've got this bolt lug here, which is cut away at the bottom so that we've got controlled feed. As the round comes out the magazine, it clicks under the extractor. We know this from Lee Enfields, we know this from Mauser 98s, but it's unusual to see controlled feed in a sort of modern 3-lug. Normally they're push feed with a sprung plunger ejector. Here, however, we have a plunger ejector, but it is not sprung. Why you can't do controlled feed normally with a sprung plunger ejector is that that's sticking up, sticking out, so it blocks the rim of the case going up. So here, it's actually actuated by that hitting that pin in the receiver. So I think that is a very cool and clever solution to that problem. I'm impressed by that. You may notice a junction here as well, because the bolt heads are exchangeable, which is great from a manufacturing perspective, because you can use the same bolt body with different bolt heads. And if they'd kept the easy caliber change, if you wanted to change between 223/300 blackout and 762/39, you could just pop it off. And what we're going to do now is take this apart and show you some other interesting features. So they actually provide a tool for this, and it says push and turn, unlock. So I'm going to push and turn, and it unlocks. And then there we have a conventional system. These, I have had some light strikes on hard primers, so I think these springs could be a little bit stronger. And then actually that hole is so that you can get in there with this tool and you can unscrew the bolt handle and change it out. And then if you do that, you can take the bolt head off, and as you can see, it's just keyed in there. You just need to push that forward, and then to put it back together again, it's easy. It cocks on open as you would expect. My choice would obviously be the other, but beggars can't be choosers. And there we go in the notch. In you go, and it all engages up nicely, and you're back together. I forgot to mention before that this is a standard AR compatible pistol grip, so you can change this out as you wish. So overall I love it. The good points are the weight's good. You put all your AR type stuff on it. It's all set up to be AR height, whereas with most bolt action rifles you're on low rings. That's all been set up with the cheek piece here to be at the right height for standard AR height. So we're into the AR sort of ecosystem of sights and mounts and bits and sling mounts and everything else you want to hang off it or not. Full-size mag. It is a quick bolt action despite the bolt handle being forward. You can middle finger it. It's a bit of a reach back. It would be better if that bolt handle were back. I don't know if it's possible, if there's enough metal to bend it back to a Lee Enfield position, but at least bent to a Sauer 202 position when they're raked back to about here. That would be nicer. Now, other issues, they recommend that you don't rest the magazine on the floor to monopod it on the mag, and what I found is that if you monopod it on the mag and lean into it, the round of the cartridge can hang up, that went fine. And of course, when I try and demonstrate it, it works fine, but there are occasions where it will hang up. We're gonna have to see if a little bit of polishing down in there might not fix that, but as long as you're aware of it, you can just make sure not to lean into it. And if you want to really improve things, you can pull back on it slightly so that it tilts the rounds up. As long as it doesn't then not catch the rim. And then ammunition wise, it has a distinct preference for 69 grain or heavier. It's a 1 in 7 twist, and I've had 1 in 7s that shot 55 or even 52 grain ammo absolutely fine. Giga of Polar Tactical has had similar issues. This shoots as well as you would expect a rifle like this in this configuration, this barrel length, 16 inch. The Australian ones have 20. It shoots as well as you would expect, and in an earlier video I explored this with 77 grain Black Hills, and this is not a precision rifle. It's never going to be a precision rifle. With this setup around here, it's never going to perform like a PSR rifle or anything like that. It's kind of a range toy. It is more than adequately accurate for what it is, even with crappy ammo, but it is not shooting 10 round bug groups, and it will never shoot 10 round bug groups. And I think that people make too great expectations of accuracy. There's this whole myth about about 1 minute of angle guns, and most guns are not not anywhere near 1 minute of angle consistently with decent group sizes. So yeah, as I said, overall this is great. What we're going to do with this is we're going to play around with bolt handles, bend them back. Now that's going to require us to file the receiver and the chassis there to let it past. Probably going to move them to there or do something with paracord or something. I'm happy with this, I'm not fussy about that. Probably a bit of rail there for a lightweight B&T bipod on occasion. I'm probably going to put a muzzle brake on it, possibly one of the B&T ones that takes a blast deflector, because in practical matches kicking up dust is often less than fun. And generally I'm going to have good fun with it, and I'm strongly tempted to take it to Lynx Brutality 2024, set up for me, zeroed for me, with my rifle I've spent some quality time with, and see how many semi-auto shooters I can beat. Touch it.
Dead?
Hard primer. These. Okay, so GGG. Hard primer. There now follows a brief public service announcement. If you're watching this video on YouTube, wouldn't it be great if there was somewhere on the internet regrouping the best gun nerd content in one place, free of demonetizations and instabans, and enabling you to watch it either on desktop or on most major platforms including Apple, Android, Roku and Amazon Fire? Well, now there is. Go to weaponsandwar.tv and sign up for $9.99 a month or $99 a year to enjoy and support the work of all these great channels in one convenient package with cross-channel collections, feature weeks and other cool features you won't find elsewhere, and better video quality. There may even be a discount code for the monthly subscription active right now. Check the main page of weaponsandwar.tv to find out. If that's not for you, the traditional options of Patreon and Player are of course still open, links in the description, and we're always grateful for a like, a subscribe and a salty comment to feed the algorithm. Many thanks for your support in whatever form it may be. Now, back at the plot. Well, I hope that was at least vaguely interesting. If you watched this far, thank you very, very much. If you're not already a supporter on Patreon or Player on the app, please consider becoming one, because it really, really helps us to keep the channel ticking along nicely, keep this rickety barge afloat, and see you again sometime. Bye.